Prime, the last for this week. We once again, sorry for the late start, we are this evening going to be looking at the 5th anniversary of the existence of TEKS Global, looking at its balance sheet and prospects. Many persons have invested hoping to make benefits, and they have been reaping these benefits already, but they also would want to know and have assurance as to the future of their investments. This evening we're going to be looking at this with the staff of TEKS Global who are here. We have Mr. Buji Leancine, who is a regular panelist on this Friday editions of Prime Hour. We're glad to have you.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Leo. Good evening, televiewers. We are here again to share with you the prospects of TEKS Global, the future, and we are also going to look at the journey back. We have at 5. It's a privilege for any company, an investment company, to reach 5 years. So we are very proud that we are at 5 and we are just beginning.
Okay. We also are in the company of Miss L. We're glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leo, and good evening to everybody. We're happy to be here and also celebrating TEKS Global at 5.
How did it go out there in Boya?
It was simply amazing. It was so awesome seeing investors coming from all over the globe, some people following online from different countries, us talking about the successes and challenges and everything. It went on smoothly. Went on so well. I personally had a very nice time.
You also enjoyed this?
Of course, Mr. Leo, I enjoyed much. For the first time again, we had to take the seat, and Mr. Teke, in his usual characteristic as a servant, was the one who did the presentation for that day. One reason was he wanted to be sure that TEKS Global was following its original vision, because for him, he also thinks that along the line, not everybody has understood it, and some investors confessed that for the first time they were getting the truth about TEKS Global from the visionary himself, because the two agendas was to be able to bring financial freedom to the people of Cameroon and Africa, as well as economic prosperity. And along the line, all these things, they might not have been achieved to the level which he wanted. So he wanted to set a new direction for TEKS Global, of which he said, we are at 5, but we are just starting. If there is anybody who is getting into TEKS Global, then it is time that TEKS Global wants to go to another phase. And the 5th year of TEKS Global came at a time that in a very difficult economic situation, with a lot of challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic to the numerous lockdowns that we had in our area of operation. But we have superseded, we are actually celebrating, actually moving through a very difficult situation to another phase, which we believe that we had some storms that came up at the time where we were about to celebrate our 5th anniversary.
In the storm, were people gifted? Some persons were given something?
Yeah, during the summit, right? You're talking about the summit. Yes. Yeah, I even got a television.
Well, we shared over, there were 23 televisions and over 40 smartphones that were given out. Those were for those who have been promoting the business. It was a way of saying thank you to our investors, thank you to our promoters. We are celebrating 5 years, but there are no 5 years without committed investors. Miss L has got a smart TV.
Yeah, 43 inches.
For telling others about what we are doing, the importance of agriculture. And of course, it was not just an opportunity about receiving. I think Mr. Teke gave a lot of the best of him to the investors that day. And I saw people, old mothers of the oldest person in the hall and the oldest man and woman actually praying for Mr. Teke. I look at the biblical blessings, so you could just equate it to that direction. It was a wonderful anniversary. People came with excitement. Some came out of the desire to actually find out what was going on, because truth be told, recently we've had a lot of rumors because, for instance, Mr. Teke was not in Cameroon.
Yeah, but we discussed that already, that
yes,
the system was attacked and that
yes.
Some works were going on.
Yes.
And ill-intentioned persons took the information and were spreading some false
information about the company. So many people were coming to see, hey, is TEKS Global still there? We heard that TEKS Global is no more. It was like some people were coming to confirm that. And at the end, you imagine the hall was full, and outside we had an outflow that those who were already considered as members of TEKS Global, as a part of the family, who already knew a bit, had to go outside to give room for other persons who just came to experience the summit.
To come and get the good news.
Yes, to come and get the good news. In fact,
the gospel.
As a matter of fact, we had people who came with their registration money to become part of this dream that very day, and they were like, after getting this, they said, whatever happens, they have to support TEKS Global, because that's the only thing that originally African, the only investment company that's actually originally, because TEKS Global is probably 100% Cameroonian, owned by Cameroonian, the staff Cameroonian.
You gave gifts to those who are promoting TEKS Global. I hope you brought mine.
Mr. Lee, your wine is there.
You guys are just smiling here.
And your wine is there. How can we talk about that? Your wine is...
You are talking about smartphones and TV sets, and to me you say wine.
When I put on the TV, I'll call you. You're watching it.
A father, you don't visit. I want to talk about wine.
There's wine in my office.
Palm wine, Mr. Leo. We are farmers.
Okay, Ms. L, we're talking about celebrating 5 years of TEKS Global. What actually were you guys celebrating?
We're celebrating a vision. That's the first thing that brought us together. The summit was all about celebrating a vision that was birthed, and people have come to understand this vision, and they bought the vision, and having a trend of people who have believed in the vision. So we organized this summit to have a time where these investors can come together and be able to celebrate the journey so far, because it was an investor summit alongside our anniversary. So we had the investors come together to celebrate the journey so far and give them a room to discover some of the projects that we are into. Because we also came to realize that most of our investors are not very informed about all the activities of TEKS Global, the investments that we have, the projects that we're carrying on, and all of that. And we also have investors who had invested in TEKS Global, understanding the vision, but not really having an in-depth knowledge of what we do. So the Investor Summit is a forum where these people come together. We get to explain to them what we are doing, what we have been doing, and make them to be able to see the vision ahead the same way that the staff and the CEO are seeing it. So we're celebrating the success, we're celebrating the challenges, because like Mr. Buji said, it's happened that at the time where we are celebrating our 5 years anniversary, we have been going through a lot of storms that we are really celebrating and thanking the investors and thanking God that despite the challenges, we're able to actually move on. I personally was so amazed as in having all these investors together. You know, some companies, when they have rumors like that, people will not show up. But that day, we had a crowd. And to think that this investor summit, people paid to attend. A ticket was 5,000 francs. But the hall was so full that people were standing outside. So we gathered together to celebrate how far TEKS Global has gone, celebrating the vision, celebrating the challenges, and being able to communicate the vision again so that people can buy the vision and be on the same lane with us and get to understand the projects and the investments that TEKS Global has. I think a lot of people left that day leaving behind the notion that TEKS Global is an online business, because they got to see a lot of investments that we have, a lot of projects we're carrying out, a lot of assets that are owned by TEKS Global. Yes,
Mr. Buji, was it really imperative for these celebrations to hold, especially given the circulation of some misguided information about this investment, about this project that is 100% African?
Mr. Leo, it was very important. That's why, if you look at it, there are two things involved. We're celebrating 5 years, and we're also having an investor summit inside. An investor summit, as Ms. Earl says, is an opportunity where our members understand what actually transpire, how their monies are being invested, monitored, and then the proceeds shared with them. An investor summit of this year, we had to revisit back who is an investor, because along the line, who is an investor, when we had a lot of people coming in, some people came in as money lenders, some people came in just as those who just saw something happening and then they got in. So we had to get back to who is an investor in the first place, because some people, as an investor, you realize that in TEKS Global, if you're a TEKS Global investor, you are part of the business. You are not outside the business. And there are some expectations that the company is expecting of you. Even if you will not be going to the farm, you need to be able to encourage those who are going to the farm. By doing what? At times you just need to visit them. That's why in Boyan now, all the TEKS Global's work sites, if you come to our office, they actually have to take you to drive you there. There are times that the CEO even drives you there himself to show you what is happening. When the farm workers, when the workers see people coming around that way, they feel excited, they feel motivated, and they do more. And we also had to tell our investors that, hey, this is one thing that Cameroon should be particularly proud of, TEKS Global, and we have to protect it at all times and with everything that we have. Because if we don't protect this our dream, it is definitely going to be stolen. Mr. Teke talked about the dream, the American dream. The American dream is definitely not a dream that someone sleeps and dream. Mm-hmm. So we could definitely have our own Cameroon dream. Nobody has talked about the Cameroon dream. But we can have a Cameroon dream with TEKS Global. Because here people are able to build houses, people are able to send children to school, people are able even to travel for on pleasure trips because of what they're generating. People are able to have people who have left from laborious and slavery situations abroad to come home and continue with TEKS Global, because it's a new hope for our generation. So all these things, we're bringing together our investors to see it, and then we project the future. The future with TEKS Global is definitely the one that is amazing. The future of TEKS Global, it shows that TEKS Global has just been laying the foundation. And at our 5th year, we had to even re-examine the foundation and see how far we have to go, if it's stable enough to contain the projects, the building, or the empire that we want to build. That's why there are a lot of there are some changes that were imperative at this moment, so that they can be able to hold the future that we have. There are many people who are knocking their doors to come in. Our IT system was not projected to carry the population that is streaming in. So we had to burst, despite the fact that, like what we were discussing last year, that our IT system was attacked. Mm-hmm. We had to take this as an opportunity to build something that would definitely, a generational IT system that will last longer, save Cameroonians, and not only Cameroonians but Africans, because we're incorporating not only the Cameroon, the system that was built almost like the vision started with a global perspective, but it was limited to Cameroon. Mm-hmm. Right now, with expansions to Turkey, the US, Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, it was important for us to try to build something that is unique, universal too. I was talking with the manager of the United States yesterday, and he told me, Mr. Buji, the products that were sent, the products did not last in the office, because people were very excited. They demanded them, and they needed more products. With the challenges that the COVID-19 brought in terms of movement of goods, it became something that we did not actually pick up at the pace that the demand was going. And he told us that he's saying that the demand for our products, our farmers need to get back to work, and we need to make sure that these products reach the United States so that they can market them and send back the money so that we can share to our people. That's the level of which we were. But we want to build something that if you're in the United States and products are leaving Cameroon to the United States, you should know that products are coming. You should know that products are available. You can order them online and you get them. So it's not a time when TEKS Global has achieved. We are just celebrating that every little step, someone who goes ahead, knows the value of success. Every little step in the journey has to be celebrated.
Yeah, has to be celebrated. There was an interaction between you guys and the investors? How was it? You just sat them there and spoke like men of God and said amen? Or they asked questions, did they leave there satisfied with what you told them?
I will start by saying this, Mr. Leo. I want to give out this way, like not being, let me assume that I'm not a staff of TEKS Global and then say this. Personally, I am very impressed because we've had other companies shut down in this country without their investors knowing what happened. But the fact that TEKS Global, before the investors could notice that there was a little problem, we were the first to bring it to the public. That we are having an issue. Can you people just hold on? Something is happening. And this particular thing, it gave me a lot of confidence. Away from being an investor, away from being a staff, it gave me a lot of confidence being an investor as well. Now, with all of this, at the time of the summit, Mr. Teke doing his presentation, if there are investors that were at the summit that are watching us right now, they can actually attest to this. That Mr. Teke took a presentation that lasted, I think it was up to an hour or more. If we add the time where they're asking questions, he presented the entire vision of TEKS Global again, the challenges we're facing, where we are going to, and what the investors are supposed to be doing. And we got to the point where investors were asking questions. Like, it was really amazing because I had a personal talk with somebody, and he was telling me that he was really shocked that how many people organize summits like this, and the CEO is standing, and investors are questioning him as though he was in the court. Because investors were asking him clear questions.
Like other investment structures where some people are in Japan and you've never had the opportunity.
You've never had the opportunity.
But yet you invest?
Yeah. And this one, we see the CEO. He stood there. He didn't go down from that podium. And they were asking him questions and he was responding.
Mr. Teke, good evening. We're glad to have you this evening. There was the celebration that took place out there in Boya, Southwest Regional Capital. Also, an investors summit. They came from far and near. What did you tell them?
Good evening, Mr. Leo, televiewers of my Media Prime. Thank you very much once again for having me around. I simply told them what TEKS Global is and what we are doing. Mr. Leo, I know the average Cameroonian has been through a lot, and they are using that to judge anything. But the Investor Summit was an eye-opener for a lot of our partners. I don't like calling them investors, I like calling them partners. I'm trying to give all of them a sense of belonging. For all of our partners, especially those that have never seen or heard from me, and that was their first time. I think about 7% of the people we have in TEKS Global had never seen me, nor they not heard me talk. And that was the first time they were able to get the real vision, the whole idea about TEKS Global. And I enjoyed the whole experience. I enjoyed the interrogations. I enjoyed the questioning. I enjoyed the interactions. But at the end of the day, a goal was achieved. A message was passed. And though nobody's expecting a 100% response, so the reactions, we expected that there should be reactions, which they came. And one of the most important things that excited me is that some investors were the ones that were even answering the questions on my behalf. Now, when I came out of the meeting, I said, Cameroon is changing rapidly because we are beginning to have people who understand what it means to take up responsibility. Mr. Liu, if you notice, you realize that some companies in the Western world, somebody just come up and buy it over. For example, Mark Zuckerberg bought over WhatsApp. You have ideas about a lot of companies that have been bought over. Why? Because someone sat and saw the vision of the company, and probably they say, hey, this company has a bigger vision. And maybe the people that are running it right now, they don't have capacity to run the vision, and they will come and put up a proposal and buy up the vision. In Africa, those things are not very common. In Africa, what happens is when people see a vision, a business that is running, they have just two things in mind. Let us wait to see how it's going to fall, and let us celebrate when it will fall. If TEKS Global was in the Western world, there are people who will come up with proposals to buy the entire idea of TEKS Global. That's the truth. Or there are people who will come up to promote this idea to make sure it doesn't go down. But we have a Cameroon, we have an African where right people you take care of will want to ensure that the thing doesn't go. But we are having a new Cameroon. People are changing. I've seen massive support for TEKS Global, even in the midst of the few challenges we are having. I'm seeing massive support every day on daily basis, people sending messages, telling me, hey, we are behind you. This vision must succeed. I must applaud all the investors of TEKS Global, every one of them, the ones I know, the ones I don't know. I must say I am so happy and blessed to be the vision bearer of them all. I am so excited. And our 6th year of TEKS Global is going to be an amazing experience. I told them at the summit, it's going to be a learning year for us, because I have decided to take up a responsibility to do trainings for all our partners, our staff, everybody. I'm moving from one branch to another, from one country to another, to ensure that everybody understands the vision for TEKS Global. We started that yesterday with the diaspora investors, and it was another amazing experience. I was so amazed with what the contributions I was getting from them. Mr. Leo, is no longer like a business where someone says, please, I need my money. It's now beginning, people are building the sense of belonging, and they're telling us, hey, this is what I want us to do, this is what I think we should do, this is what I think we should do. Investors are bringing up suggestions on how this business can last the next 20 years, the next 30 years. One of those investors said something yesterday. He said, hey, Mr. Teke, tell us, what is the projected danger you think can come to this company that can put up a danger for us in the nearest future? And I said, as it stands now, the only danger I see is when our partners and our investors stop trusting us and believing in the negative vibes. And we're like, wow, so what do we do? I gave them an example. I said, if every client in the bank close their account and withdraw all their money, the bank will have no business. The same thing will happen for TEKS Global. If every investor come and say, we don't want to do business with TEKS Global again, close our account, return our money, we'll have no client, and we will destroy the vision that is meant to empower a lot of people. And those guys, they told me, they said, you know what, we are with you, and we must make this vision work. There in that meeting, we had 2 proposals for expansion of TEKS Global to Canada and to the United Kingdom. And I was so excited. I think we are on a right footing, and I am still telling our investors, let's wait March and see how we bounce back full time. Meanwhile, activities in TEKS Global are ongoing peacefully, and normally there is nothing that is happening. We are on the right footing, and we'll make it happen in Cameroon. We'll build the name. Thank you, Mr. Elive.
Mr. Teke, you think that these investors went home satisfied with the explanations and assurance you gave?
Yes, from the feedback I got after the summit, I am comfortably sure that we have 85 to 90% satisfaction from the investors.
Mr. Teke, 5 years now, TEKS Global. We know that such schemes, projects, are usually brought into Cameroon and other African nations by foreigners. And you know how skeptical Africans and Cameroonians have been, especially when it comes to putting their money into such ventures. Where did you get this courage to venture into something that was considered before now reserved for the guys from the East?
Well, Mr. Leo, I have a policy, there's a statement I always work with, that the fact that it is black doesn't make it bad. and the fact that it is white doesn't make it right. So I decided to work not to base my attention on the color of my skin or the environment in which I'm coming from. There is one person I know that have the capacity to make anybody succeed, and that is God. And that is why God is in the center of everything we do in TEKS Global. No matter what happens, if we fail, we'll still have God as at the center of what we do. If we succeed, we'll still have him at the center of what we do. He is the reason for the courage we are building to do what we are doing.
5 years after, what can you say as the vision bearer, some of the achievements of TEKS Global?
Oh, Mr. Leo, so far, let me start with the people. I think I have a lot of testimony of people who have been empowered, whose life has changed because of TEKS Global. The very fact that we've been able to manage people for the past 5 years, and they've had amazing testimonies, except for the hitches for the past 1 year and 1 month and some weeks now. We've had amazing testimonies. I've seen people build houses. I've seen people buy cars. I've seen people live lives, pay school fees because of TEKS Global. Is an amazing achievement for me. It may not be the best so far, but I think it's an amazing achievement for me. Anytime I hear those testimonies, I feel satisfied. And we have some other amazing achievements in our farms. The business we do in TEKS Global is agriculture. And so if there's any achievement, it's an agricultural project. They are littered all over Cameroon. Go to Yokaduma, go to Boya, go to Dibamba, go to Kumba. We have those agricultural projects running. Go to Nigeria, they are all running. So these are the things we are doing. But the most amazing thing is that we have been able to empower humanity, and that is what is keeping us going.
Mr. Teke, you came to, yes, you came to Boya. That is where you started. How was the project? How was it established? How did you succeed to convince people? Because today we have many investors, but it is an idea that started with you.
Okay, Mr. Liu, I read the book, and the author of this book said that if you want to climb the staircase, you don't need to figure out the destination where the staircase is leading. He said, just take the first step and you definitely arrive at your destination. This is how he puts it. He said, get into the corridor, you will surely find the door to your room. So when I came, all I did was just to start. We just had to start. The challenges from the beginning weren't something any ordinary person would have been able to bear. I have instances where I've gone out to talk to people and they will send me out, they will insult me, they will humiliate me. But the consistency is what kept the movement going. And that is the principle in which we are still working right now. Someone was speaking to me today and he said that it's one of our staff. He said, you've made us proud. He said, the things we experienced for the past 1 month was enough for you to abandon all of us and disappear. He said, but you stayed with us, you've made us proud, and we are going to stay with you. Consistency is the key to every success, no matter what they say. You will never have 100% of people applauding you and giving you a positive confession. Right inside the mist, inside your cartel, you will have people who speak evil against you, but your consistency is what will give you the glory in the nearest future. I was consistent in what I was doing. We were consistent in what we're doing. People came into the business, they left. They came into the system, they left. We keep being consistent until we are here we are today. And if we must make another 5 years, another 10 years, consistency and dedication to work is what will take us to the nearest future.
Ms. L, this is something that has to do with convincing people to put money. How is it? Is it to convince an African or a Cameroonian to invest money in an African project? especially a project that is led by a young guy like Mr. TEKS.
Okay, Mr. Leo, I remember when I first joined TEKS Global, I personally had difficulties convincing people to join the business. And then I remember this one time, Mr. TEKS said, do you know why it's difficult for you to convince people? I said, no. He said, because people respond to your belief system.
Okay.
So he said that if you believe in the business from within, when you are talking to them, they don't really listen to the words. It's a spirit that leaves you and then convince them to join your business. So I would say at first it was difficult, but it becomes easier to convince people the more you are believing in what you are doing. So normally they'll ask questions. He's a very young man. I think the day of the summit, I heard people saying that, like, Mr. TEKS is very young, like, we were not expecting. Those who have never seen him before. Some people, I even heard somebody say openly that he looks younger in person than even when they see him on pictures and all of that. So it's not easy telling these people, oh, he's a young man, he has the vision and all of that. But I think convincing people for TEKS Global is not really because of the CEO. It's because you as an individual has understood, you've understood the vision. And that's why investors can be able to have referrals, because they have understood, they have bought a vision and they are passing across the vision to other people. And over time, it has really changed. People are beginning to understand more what we are into, and now they are accepting what we are doing. But they have their questions to ask more because of the other companies that have existed and people's money got wind up and all of that. But this is TEKS Global. It's not an online business like what people say. It is agriculture. You see it. You see the people. We're right here. You're seeing us. We talk with you day to day and all of that. So with all of this, we try to put that in front and then make the people to understand what we are doing and then get them into the boat. Of course, it's really not easy, because sometimes, no matter how you convince some people, they are still adamant. But one thing I've noticed in TEKS Global now is, TEKS Global is like how you do evangelism. You tell someone about TEKS Global, you just tell them, and sometimes you leave them. Before you realize, they have invested without you even knowing, because as they're getting the information more about TEKS Global, as the time is going on, they're understanding the vision more, they begin to buy, they accept it, and then they invest in the company. So it has not really been easy, but I'll tell you that with the growth we've experienced so far, TEKS Global has really grown. And the minds of the people are actually transforming.
Mr. TEKS, Ms. L says it's not been easy. I'm sure many stories have been said about your person. You're a young guy who now is moving billions around. Yeah, I'm sure there are backstabbings and many such very, very unpleasant situations around ventures like this in Cameroon and Africa. Do you hear them? What are they saying about you, and what keeps you moving?
Mr. Lou, I hear them every day, like every day. As a matter of fact, I hear people say, I get audios, videos, people saying terrible things every day. Sometimes I hear some things and I wonder if that's really me. But what keeps me going is I have made up my mind that those are distractions. And so the only way to defeat negative impression about you is to produce the right result. So instead of concentrating, trying to defend yourself before all of these things, is just to work, be consistent, be diligent with what you do, produce the right result, and the whole negative thing would die down as soon as you are producing your result and keeping up to your promises.
Yes, Yano is writing from Yaoundé. He says, good evening, my name is Yano from Yaoundé. Please, I really wish to know what TEKS Global is all about. Some persons who are also watching may really not understand. Yeah.
Okay, this time, if that means we still have a lot of work to do. We're talking this evening and we said we still have a lot of work to do, So we can say someone still asking what TEKS Global is all about. That means there's a lot. So, okay, the numbers on the screen, but TEKS Global is an agricultural company with two major objectives: to guarantee food security and to ensure financial freedom. in our presentation, we see that TEKS Global is answering 5 basic problems in the world, which are part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So like I was telling them, I said, everything we do, we try to make sure that it touches the people and touches the world. That is why we are global. So one of the basic problem that TEKS Global is solving is the issue of hunger. And that's why we chose agriculture, because one of the major challenge the average African is having is the problem of hunger. So we get into agriculture, we provide food. The next basic problem the average African is facing is issue of poverty. And that's why we have the agricultural investment projects or programs. That's where the investors come in. The next issue we are solving is issue of education. And that's why we have our training programs coming in play. We have also the issue of partnership. A lot of Africans and Cameroonians don't understand what partnership is. And that is why we are having investor summit from time to time, bringing in people to invest in projects. We partner with them, and we are distributing profits from all our agricultural projects. We're also solving the problem of unemployment. And that's why we see TEKS Global employing people, both TEKS Global as a mother company and the other companies that are springing up from TEKS Global. So it's actually a venture, it's actually an organization that deals on agriculture, training people on financial freedom and food security in Cameroon, in Africa, and in the world.
Okay, we hope that this guy is the guy who has written Yano is understanding what it's all about. But some persons are also asking why it is not an online business. What is the difference between TEKS Global and most of these online ventures?
Well, what we are trying to do is to be able to help the average man understand, because anytime you say online business, they see like something that is not physical, like you can't trust it. So we're telling them, hey, you can do business with us online because we need this platform to relate with our partners who are not in Cameroon or who we cannot access. But the difference here is that TEKS Global is, number one, into agriculture. We have physical agricultural projects. We have physical offices. It is not an audio business. It is not a faceless business. You can see the staff, you can see the workers, you can see the vision bearers of the business. You can see them one-on-one. It's not something you tell you the owner is in Hong Kong and you cannot find them. That's just the difference. And I always like to explain the difference in this way, that before you join any business, look at the 3 major components that makes up a successful business. Number 1 is the people behind the business. Does this business have a face people you can see, physical people you can see and you can talk with? When you are looking at the people behind the business, look at the founders of the business and the people who are coming to contribute in running the business. Does the business have physical people? Yes. Now at this point, it is where we have to start looking beyond the size, the age, the quality, the type, or the color of the people involved. So first we look at, does the business have people, physical persons? Yes. Number 2, what product does the business sell? Does this business have physical products that we can see? Of course, yes. We have agricultural products everywhere. Thirdly, what is the profit of the business? So look at the people, the products, and the profit. If all of these things are physical and they are realizable, then we are good to have a business. And that is the difference we share among or we share with other online businesses. The challenge we've had for a month now is actually a reason to help our investors know that this business is a physical business and not just an online thing that exists in the computer. Because to run a business for 5 years and there's no day you come and say, hey, there's a challenge, we are going through this, how do we fix it? Then it's an online business, it's just a computer business that doesn't exist. So our investors should see this challenge as a proof of the reality of the businesses we do. That's the truth. And that's why if you go to our system in the terms and conditions, you see certain clauses that says that the company reserves the right to change or adjust certain policies, certain operational modus of the business for the sustainability of the company and the protection of the investors' money.
Okay, Mr.
So if
Teke,
they see the challenge,
Mr.
Yes,
Teke,
sir.
since we are celebrating, we are still in the mood of celebration. So investors who were in Boya were able to ask questions you provided. I also pray that you also answer some of these questions that are coming up today, because people are watching
Yes.
across the world. Somebody is asking that, can I have money through TEKS Global even as a student? Can a student invest?
Yes, if a student, if you're above 18 and you have your investment money, yes, you can invest if you're above 18. But if you are below 18, then you have to come with your guardian to invest. Yes, you can. But let me say this. Don't collect your school fees from your parents and come and invest. But if you have your allowance, you have your spare money and you're above 18, then you are free to invest. You can invest and make your money out of TEKS Global.
Good evening, Mr. Teke. How long do we expect to get TEKS Global fish in cold stores in Victoria? That's in Limbe. Leku is writing from Limbe.
Yes, by February, the fish will be available in the farms, and so everybody can start getting it.
Okay. Is there a structure in Limbe that is also under construction, like what we saw in Boya?
Not yet, but that is also in the plan. As a matter of fact, Limbe is a place where we have most of the 2022 plans now. We're planning an office in Limbe, and then we have other farming projects in the Limbe locality, like in Batoke. We have a work going on there. And today I was just talking with someone who has also offered, is giving us a go-ahead for about 60 hectares of land to be used for agricultural projects somewhere around Idina. So the Limbe area is part of the program for 2022 projects for TEKS Global.
Good evening to you, sir. I have been hearing a lot about TEKS Global. Can you enlighten me about it? How do I become a member? How does it function?
Well, I don't know if these people, someone that still asks about the company should just get to
how do you become a member
on the screen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are watching the program, we have Mr. Teke's number. There are two numbers on the screen. Can you just call these numbers and ask whatever question you want to ask about TEKS Global? We're taking a short break. When we come back, we continue with our discussions.
There's nothing more magical than spending good times with the family during the holidays. So, join Canal Plus and let's spend the holidays together. To welcome you, the decoder is 5,000 francs and installation offered with many channels.
Ça sera la musique ou rien.
C'est tout.
What to love?
Nous avons un duel Afrique de l'Ouest, Afrique centrale.
Dance and ignite your evenings. Share strong moments full of twists and turns. And even make the younger ones dream.
Passage en vitesse, Mac Noël. Tout est prêt pour qu'on profite de Nothing kill my vibe. I see you watching my stories. I see you getting my lifestyle. I see you watching my movements. This bad bitch bad every day. I know they look at your face. Bad man bad every day. Get on your knees and
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. This evening we are looking at the 5th anniversary of TEKS Global, looking at what they have been able to achieve so far, and also what prospects they have for their investors. What is the major challenge that you, as a worker with TEKS Global, has been facing?
Well, Mr. Leo, you talk about my challenge. I'm a type of person who is really, I love challenges at work because when everything is running just smoothly, I feel like I'm not doing anything. One of my biggest challenge has been to take somebody who doesn't understand anything about investments to actually have a mind of becoming an investor. And it's not really easy because there are some people that we're in a situation where topics like money have never been taught in our schools, except in money as a legal tender. We are in situations where investments, I don't know if there is any, throughout my years in school, I did not study anything investments. But coming to a point where I had to learn about investments, investing, the rules of investing, and share back with people, it's all something that we are learning, and the world is evolving. Like recently, I adopted a policy that I will always make sure that I tell the investors the difference between who is an investor and who is a money lender. Because for some people, they just think investing is putting money and removing it and maybe playing jangi or something. But I told them, hey, as an investor, you're investing in a business, and businesses, no matter what happens, businesses don't just run smoothly. There is no empire that will run for years without actually having its own hitches. We can definitely, maybe we are waiting for, we already promised our investors that we'll pay them on Friday, and then you have a technical, maybe an accident. We could have, like a few weeks ago, Mr. Teke was telling us a situation where, like in Nigeria, where some people came to buy fish, and then the fish is already removed from the drain, the ponds, remove the fish and package them, prepare them. Then of a sudden, while they were already there, while they were doing it, they said they already changed their mind, they are not buying again. What happened next is they had to take that fish and put back in the fish ponds, and it shows that that container was contaminated. It contaminated the rest of them, and we did not end up selling the fish, and we did not even end up having the fish. So it's at that time, for an investor whose mind is not developed, who is thinking more about just the money, it's difficult to tell them that, hey, we're going to pay you next week because this is what happened to us. Like recently, the past 1 week hasn't been good for us because sometimes you're trying to explain to an investor that, hey, our system is under attack, and the number one priority of TEKS Global now is not to pay you. The number one priority of TEKS Global is to secure your money for the future, because TEKS Global is not a company that we are not planning to celebrate 5 years and vanish. We need to start getting, as a matter of fact, sometimes I'm sleeping. The IT firm says, you're not going to sleep now. Maybe I have a program at 5 o'clock. I'm at 2 a.m. I'm still up to be able to respond to some questions. Sometimes like right now, what they're putting in place, they're like, what are the questions, what are the worries of investors? Let's be able to develop something that can easily, they don't need to call personnels, TEKS Global personnel to handle that. Sometimes in TEKS Global, I realize that sometimes you educate camera, please don't call us after working hours. They will not hear. At 1 a.m., someone is calling you. This one, they are giving this. So you have to try to adapt to them, and while we continually educate them. That's been one of my major challenge, but it's been a very satisfactory journey where I have to meet new people, those who reason differently, those who you have to tell them, hey, you have to secure your future and you need to be an investor, and you teach them something today, the next day they are still in that same place, and you have to have the patience. I've learned patience too within that, how to be patient with somebody to actually pick up and we move ahead. So for the past 1 month, in fact, this has been my greatest challenging moment in TEKS Global, where I have to try. So I have people who are contacting me for the first time, because if I'm communicating with you, Mr. Leo, I already know you. Sometimes someone will call the manager of Bamenda, call the manager of Kumba, call the manager of this, then they still call you. And at times, no matter what, the way they explain or say, no, but this is not what this person explained. They forget to understand that the way I talk as a marketer is different from the way somebody as a manager is going to talk.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Teke. How can a student invest in TEKS Global business? Mr. Teke explained that already. Just call the numbers on your screen and you're going to be directed. Now, good evening. I'm Nelson from Yaoundé Swap. Please, I wish to ask that how much is the minimum amount to invest in TEKS Global? Is there a minimum amount?
So now it's 100,000.
Okay.
Yes, so, but we had announced that we are going to have new investment plans that will be coming up by next year.
Mr. Teke, there is an investor who wants clarification. I'm not sure whether it is just for him, but for other persons. Hello, Prime. I have a question for TEKS Global. Why do you still want to get 20% from investors who wish to be out because you breached the contract? I have these questions because I want to invest, but these questions from people within already get worried. Mr. Teke, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm here.
This issue I am ready. Good evening, boss. I wish to ask these questions to Mr. Teke. I am an investor already. During registration, the forms that were filled did not talk about certain details which we consider are very important to inform prospective investors before he or she decides to invest. They are talking of an MOU that is to be drafted, and the issue of 20%. What is this 20% about, Mr. Teke?
Okay, when you sign up, you have a receipt, and one of the other documents you go home with is MOU is simply the memorandum of understanding, showing the company's agreement between you and the company for what we are going in for. And there are certain clauses and conditions on that MOU, because we want these guys to know that we are in for a business. So in case you are here and after some time realize that you are no longer comfortable and you want to leave, it's okay, we can always do a refund. But then when you give us your money, you're giving us the money to get into agri-business. And when we get to business and maybe tomorrow you hear something that say, hey, I want a refund back of my money. First, there's a lot of inconvenience that is coming in the part of the company. So the condition is when you want a refund of your money, what we do is we will simply get your capital minus 20% of the money you have invested, and then we give you back your capital. If you go to the bank, Mr. Alain, you want to close your account, there is something they call initial deposit. That money is never given back to you. It's there, it remains with the bank. You can close the account, withdraw your money, but there's an initial deposit depending on the type of account that you are creating. So that is the MOU. But I only realized recently that most people, even when we give them the MOU, they don't even read it. That's why I said that in 2022 is going to be a learning year for TEKS Global, because we will train people outside our investors, we will train people on what they need to consider, they need to know before they get into a business. We will also train our staff. We will retrain our staff on the things they need to tell people when they come to do transactions or to do business with us. In 2022, we will not just be in a hurry to get partners or to get shareholders or to get investors. We will spend our time to train people because we want to get a better experience in the whole of 2022, 2023, 2024, and why not 2035. But then this cannot be so easy for us until we are able to train and educate our people. So that's just all about the MOU. It's stated there the day you are registered. The document is supposed to be given to you. You have it and you should be able to read it. Even on our side, when people go to the site, they don't even have time to check the memorandum of the terms and conditions. There are terms and conditions on the site on how the system operates. So I am encouraging our people, we should be able to take the time to grab information, especially when it has to do with our finances. It's no longer a business of come and put money and take money. No, it's a business of you sitting down and figuring out how does it work and how do we make it better. So that's what the MOU is all about.
After the summit and anniversary, did you take time off to have a rethink, take stock, and decide on the way forward? Were there some resolutions that came out of the summit?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the summit was already was a product of a preparation that took place on the 9th of November. Yes, on the 9th of November. So, and after the summit, we've been having several meetings because we are doing, I told them, I said, we are doing a complete restructuring. It's like we are starting TEKS Global all over again. So there's a lot of restructuring that is going to be taking place in all the areas of TEKS Global, every area. From the day of after the summit to today, I've been having several meetings taking place in different offices. We're putting up the structure, we're putting up a strong communication, putting a strong human resource, we're putting up a strong IT, we're putting up a strong accounting system, developing new accounting software. So a lot of activities are going on. We have the whole of December to do all of these preparation so that by the time we launch into the new year, and by the time we open normally for payments in September and in March, we will not have all of these little hitches again, because we want our investors to smile the way they've been smiling for the past 5 years.
Now, when people put their money, Ms. L, the investors, where do you keep the money?
We put the money in the projects that we are doing. So the money that investors give us is not for us to go and save. It's for us to get into more business so that we can be able to make the money that we pay them as return on investment. That's why we say it's not an online business. It's not like you give us money and then we keep it somewhere or go to the bank and we're keeping and all of that. And that is why Mr. Buji mentioned that we do have our physical projects that people get into towns. Like when you come to Boya, you can actually demand to see the fish pond. The fish pond you see is the money you have given. We are actually doing these projects. Mr. Teke mentioned, you invest in the company, you are checking the people, the product, and the profit. So we take this money and then put it into the product. That's what gives the profit. So all the projects and everything that investors are seeing, it's the money that they are giving. And that is why it's also very important. Mr. Teke mentioned this. It's one thing I also observed, that some investors were not reading the MOU. As he mentioned, that policies can actually change to be able to ensure sustainability of the company. This comes to this because all the money that investors give us, we put them into these projects. And so if we have to even go back to what he's mentioned about 20%, all of that, these are the projects we are investing in. And of course, agriculture is not something that when you invest in today, it gives birth tomorrow. It's not an online business. It actually grows. And as we are growing, we are expanding. And the expansion that we are doing in TEKS Global is with the money that the investors are giving us. So as the investors are giving the money, we are actually working together. And that is why in TEKS Global, you always hear the word absentee farmer. So we are the farmers, and then the investors are the absentee farmers. So the money comes in, and then we put them into the products, the projects we are into. And that is where the returns that we're paying the investors are actually coming from. So TEKS Global does not take your money and then they keep. That's not business.
So as we speak, there is a fish farm in Boya. And where again?
There's a fish farm in Boya, there's a fish farm in Bayelsa State in Nigeria, as well as a poultry, very big. Many Cameroonians have asked us, but why would we operate a business of such capacity in Nigeria? But the answer was simple. Nigeria has a population of above 200 million people. And I mean, just one state in Nigeria can actually, is Abuja, Lagos, they are bigger than Cameroon. So it tells you that, in terms of population, it tells you that if for a market, we easily have a ready market in Nigeria. For instance, we produce pepper, which is actually, that's our first product. TEKS Global is going to the 5th year. On our 5th year, TEKS Global is actually getting to the year of transformation and production. So our first product is liquid pepper. TEKS Global is liquid pepper. And why the pepper came out, the demand in Nigeria already tripled that of Cameroon. So one of the things in business is that we must also, despite the fact that our desire is that our people should be able to enjoy the products and services first, we also want to make sure that at least the business, wherever we are venturing into, is profitable enough so that we can be able to share the profits back to our investors and ensure sustainability. So in that light, the fish pond is there in Bokwai. At the same place, you have the piggery. Then all this connect in one thing. In the cool store at Buduma, definitely is in town. People can easily have access to it. But Mr. Leo, when you talk about a fish pond, people just think about maybe it's a small place there that fish is there. It's ultra modern. where, like, even me, I was there yesterday, and I was like, is it the place that I just left 2 weeks ago? Because it was totally transformed. You already saw some digital tools already brought there, and in that very area, as TEKS Global is doing something that people were asking me the question that were asking us, thank you TEKS Global for what you have done in Bokwa, because TEKS Global is bringing development to that area, where you have like TEKS Global water in that area. TEKS Global is supplying the water they have generated for the fish. They are sharing it with the inhabitants of the community, and that is for free. So when an investor, when you are investing your money, you are touching a life indirectly you don't even know. When we generate profits, we definitely go through with TEKS Foundation. TEKS Foundation actually reach out to IDPs, the sick, the malnourished children, and a lot more activities. Then we are getting into, like today, I was talking with the manager, the general manager for Equatorial Guinea, and she was actually telling me, she sent me a list of our agricultural machines that they're already demanding there. That's a business that some of our investors don't even know where our farmhouse is. You know that as a farmer, you can actually, with less than $1 million, you can get machines that can actually be doing the agriculture for you. So that's the level of which we are in. The agricultural import business is a multi-billion industry. Okay. So just from that area, it generates a lot of income for the company.
This one, Mr. Aka, writing from Limbe, say, I am interested. Okay, Mr. Aka, if you are interested, call the numbers on your screen, and you will be told what to do. Hi, Alexander, writing from Poland, is asking, as an investor, can you also be part of the management team, not just an observer that is visiting the sites like Mr. Buji is saying? Mr. Teke?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
The investors have, as a matter of fact, we are, in this new year, we are creating a committee, a board of, a committee of people, and we're going to be having investors representing in that committee. So we're going to create a committee. We want the investors to be part of the decision making of TEKS Global. Like what I told them, I said TEKS Global has grown beyond a level where it's being managed by one person. It should be managed by a board. And this is a new phase for us in the 6th year, and all of these changes are taking place. But having the board is not something you're just going to pick up people. First, we have to pick up people that have the heart for the growth of the company, and people who have certain professional skills to be able to educate the staff on some things. I also put up good suggestion when we find ourselves in a situation where there's a need for such. Like if we are building up the board, we need to have someone with a very good professional IT skill to be part of the board, agricultural skill part of the board. So we're going to get a board. Before we get into the next year, we'll have a board managing or supervising the activities of TEKS Global, and 50% of them should be investors who can represent. You can also be a part of the management of TEKS Global by becoming a shareholder. So we are opening up buying of shares in TEKS Global in our different projects. So you just indicate, and then we give you all the options. You choose your area of interest, and we negotiate, and you become part of the business. So you not just be a passive investor, you be an active partner of TEKS Global. You have the right to go to any of our farms, see anything you want to see, just request, and we will make that available for you.
Mr. Teke, you said earlier on, you mentioned some sites that were going to be opened up, I'm sure in the East region, littoral, and you talked about Edinau. Where else are you investing?
We've had several calls to get to Bafoussam, and so we are actually looking at the west and then Limbe. We already have projects in the east. I guess the east is Betwa. So we already have projects in the east, that's in Yokaduma, massive projects going on there. So we are looking at the west and Limbe, part of Southwest. So That's what we are looking at. Then if any other thing comes up, then fine. And then we also have, we're also looking at out of Cameroon, in Canada, and in the UK.
Yeah, investments all are in agriculture, fish farming, poultry.
No. We are expanding seriously. We're getting into IT. We're getting into real estate. Our major area of diversification this year is into real estate. We want to go to develop a TEKS Global village. It's a very tedious project, but we have to do it. It's in the pipeline. It's in the program. It's in the vision. So we are moving into real estate. We've already expanded to the IT. We have to build the IT area the more, and we've expanded into education. That's why we have Chef Academy, and we have more work at the area of education because we're going to vocational training also. But our major area of diversification now we are looking at from 2022 is we're going into real estate big time and in a more global standard.
Education, you are going to be focusing 2022 to educate those working for TEKS Global, and I'm sure the investors, but the population would need to understand better. How are you going to achieve this? Are you going to be organizing monthly seminars across the cities? Are you going to be doing door-to-door? Or are you coming up with more programs, TV programs, to get out to many more persons?
Mr. Alain, we'll make use of every available channel to ensure that we reach out to every of our prospects, our clients, and our investors. We'll use all the available channels, door-to-door, office-to-office, more seminars, more TV programs. Every available channel that we can access, we are going to use it to make sure the message gets across. Because in 2022, we want to be able to have more mature, more educated, and more empowered partners and investors.
Okay. Can some invest with other assets like piece of land, agricultural seedlings, and machinery?
Yes, Mr. Lo, you can. When you have a parcel of land and you want to get to investment, we just look at the value, and then if you want us to convert it to an investment, we can. If you want us to partner with you in that land and engage in agricultural projects, we can. If you have agricultural machinery, you have some expertise and you want to sell it off to us, we can buy it off and then put it into an investment for you. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Teke, last week we talked about what was not right with the system that is actually making it difficult for persons to withdraw the money. Some persons might not have followed that program, and some persons were not also in Boya for the summit. Can we understand what is being done to get the problem fixed?
Okay, the major issue is the system developed some bug, and we had the system doubling people's money, thereby causing the company to pay a lot extra that we did not actually receive. So what is actually going to be done for this to be fixed is I already have work going on right now. First thing is they are building a robust system that will actually take care of all of the challenges we've been having. For example, our first system was so very manual. Payments were done manually, but our new system is going to be so robust that can take care of all of these things, the challenges, the delay for the 8 hours period that we could not meet. So our new system is going to take care of it. Work is going on now. And I think before end of December, the company would have been able to develop some other sections where we can get into the system and be doing activities already while we are waiting for March to reach. So because our major tool for activities is this system, and so serious work is going on there. We are also developing areas in the system where it wasn't in the old system before, but it's going to be implemented in the new system, where our partners, our investors can receive training online from the system and also do purchase. They can be able to buy our agricultural products in the system, because we have Visa cards. We are partnering with UBA Bank that give us a TEKS Global branded Visa card. So you can use our card to buy online. We're also bringing up a discount card that our investors can also use to buy online. So the new system is carrying up a whole lot of portals that can also enable our employee to see exactly what to do. Now, the old system is causing a lot of stress, makes most of our investors to be calling and asking questions. But most of those questions that we're supposed to be asking in the new system, it will be provided, plus the answers. So it's going to make things very easier and very fast for both of us, or both the staff, the management, and the investors.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, just to find out if registration into TEKS Global has been suspended for the month of December or it's still going on. Florence is writing from Boya. I don't know, who takes that?
Yes, registration is still going on. The reason we allow that is because by the time we get into the next year, the registration amount is going to top up. Instead of 75,000, is going to 125,000. So we have given our investors, those that love us and they care about us and want to do business with us, from now till when we open up in March, register with the old sum. But after that period, you'll be registering with 125,000, because the membership part is not affected. So registration is going on, and that is why the people building the new system are wrapping it up fast so that activities can be going on. So you can do your registration in TEKS Global, and your membership will be registered in the system while waiting for March so we can resume our payment activities.
Now, somebody says, talking about technology, why don't we go into a TEKS Global app where you can do everything with your mobile phone?
Mr. Lou, all of that is in the new system. All of that is in place. Like I said, we are building a robust system that will take care of all the challenges and weaknesses we had for the old system.
Okay. Now, this is a scheme that people are putting their money. Yeah. How and who is monitoring and evaluating what is happening to ensure that, or to guarantee the investments of investors?
Okay, Mr. Leo. Actually, Mr. Teke mentioned something that I will have to come back to that. TEKS Global so far has been managed by the internal management. So the monitoring and evaluation has been done by the team. And also, we've had auditors, yes, but this time around, we want to expand it because our projects has really increased. And that's why he has actually mentioned that we're going to have investors who are going to come in to represent in the board. We're going to have new people join the board.
Board of directors?
The board of directors. So TEKS Global will officially have a board of directors. So it will make things easier because we have actually outgrown the management. The investors have outgrown the management that we had put in place. So now there's going to be an entire board that will be monitoring and evaluating. Because one of the reasons why some investors were not informed about our projects and all of that was because the management team was not very broad that could actually encompass or go across the entire investors, let's say the entire community of TEKS Global. So after now, we are already putting everything together. Mr. Teke has mentioned it himself, people have heard it, that the whole system is actually being rebuilt, and we are also going to have a board of directors that are going to now make sure that, so we have been monitoring before, we have been evaluating before, but this time around, it's going to be more flexible because it's going to be now a whole board that will be managing everything. And we know that this system that we're putting in place is going to really help the investors such that they will be sure that they have their people also seated. Because before now, we didn't really have investors as part of the board, but now we're going to have some investors representing the investors in the board. So after now, it will be more flexible. So monitoring and evaluation will be done by the board of directors.
The board of directors, they're going to do the game-changing formula here. Things are going to get more serious.
Of course, Mr. Leo, when TEKS Global staff know that, hey, there is a superior board, is the superior eye that is looking at you, that if you don't do your job well, definitely you have the board to answer to, because the board is at least that's the eye of the investors. And that's what Mr. Teke mentioned, that in the board, you don't just take anybody to become a board member. People who know what they are doing, people who can advise, people who can caution the company, people who can help the company to grow to another level. So right now, I'm going back to the system that we are building, because what we are building is a system that should be able to answer all the questions that the old system raised. We have to build a system that it's done with the next generation technology. Because while we're growing, coming up, we did not actually anticipate the level of which, for instance, 2021 showed an influx of people into TEKS Global, coupled by the fact that many investment companies left people wandering in the middle of nowhere. So we had to expand to be able to accommodate this massive influx to TEKS Global. And we cannot say, hey, we no longer want you people to come in. If other platforms have failed them, it's an opportunity for TEKS Global to save them. So we have to pause, look at how are we going to accommodate these people and make sure that everybody enjoys and TEKS Global's investors enjoy. Why this transition is going on, the old investors have a lot of privileges that are still left with them. Because at a time when TEKS Global is heading to, there will be a time that there is no room for further entry. So if you are part of TEKS Global, it is a wonderful thing. You need to, actually, it should be an achievement. I wrote on my status today that if you are not yet part of TEKS Global and you're thinking of giving yourself a gift during this period, think about becoming part of TEKS Global. Because TEKS Global is a community project and is made for us, by us, and we can make it work.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thanks very much for the job you are doing. I have a question for Mr. Teke. Actually, Mr. Teke, you keep saying investors are very much responsible for the growth for TEKS Global. Yes, you have to be responsible now. If you are not responsible, your investment will be wasted. You say, but as an investor, I have not seen any forum where investors can communicate among themselves. If there is a forum where investors can actually talk, I would like to know. Also, I plead a TEKS Global office be opened in the West region. Many would like to join TEKS Global but can't travel to the Southwest due to some reasons we all know. Signed, Tony Nsungkikang, writing from the West region. Okay, I hope that TEKS Global is going to perform very soon.
Yes, of course. And just what he said about a forum where, a platform where investors can communicate. The new platform we are building is even giving you an opportunity to communicate even directly with the company.
Okay.
Because the reason why we don't want, in fact, our investors, we have communities. We have actually a Facebook group, we have a Facebook page, but our group particularly, which means that there is for TEKS Global investors, where they can actually interact. But there's also one thing that investors fail to understand. There are times that you have a problem, and instead of channeling it to the right quarters, you're asking a fellow investors what to do. And the truth is, not everybody is honest. Sometimes someone may get your password, use it to tamper with your investments. So those are the reasons why we actually always want that let questions that have to deal with your investment be directed to the right quarters, which is those who are in charge.
Okay, those who are in charge. Mr. Teke, how involved or how are government services monitoring what you are doing? How do you interact with them? Are they
Say that again, Mr. Lee.
Yes, I'm talking about government services. You are operating a very legal business in Cameroon, an investment project in Cameroon. How involved are government services in what you do? Do they monitor? Do they investigate? Do you exchange with them from time to time?
Yes, sure, Mr. Lee. We do agricultural projects, and we deal on farm inputs like chemicals, insecticides, fertilizers, And for you to be able to sell all of those things, you need to get certain permits. And so before we started operating in that sector, we have all of those permits from the ministry to enable us sell insecticides, pesticides, chemicals, fertilizers. We have that. We also work with the taxation because we have to pay our tax. Today I was at the CMPS talking with the representative of the CMPS, Social Insurance, doing some negotiations about our staff and how we are trying to expand and every other thing. As far as our own responsibility is concerned to the government, we are making sure that we do our part so we don't fault. Our major part is that we should be able to pay our tax and make sure we pay our employee so that we can help the government provide employment in the country, which is what we are doing. We are also taking part in providing food security in the country by taking part in serious agricultural projects, which is one of the gospel that the government and the president is preaching, that people should get to the farm and get into agriculture. As a matter of fact, we are working line with the president's agenda for 2035.
Are you receiving enough support, assistance from the government services? I'm not talking about money. I'm sure you need services, you need attention, you need this and that from them. Are you receiving what you've requested from them?
Yes, Mr. Leo. I think we are having we're having a lot of encouragement. For example, there was a program we attended in Abuja called Focus Africa. The people actually went to the prime ministry. Yeah. Then they were actually directed to come to our office and talk with us about the way forward, and decided that told them to discuss with us, and we should be able to go and represent in that program. So we are having the support we have. I don't think we've actually made a request that we cannot get. Someone spoke with me, and I think he works with something in employment. I've forgotten that sector, and he said, anything we need as far as agriculture is concerned, I should contact their ministry that he is in charge. He even introduced me. I was supposed to do a registration. Introduced me to a council called Cameroon Turkish Business Council, where we will be able to export and import our agricultural project or products in and out of Cameroon to Turkey. So from Cameroon to Turkey, and then we get our stuff from Turkey to Cameroon, and they give us a lot of opportunities and a lot of discounts if we are transporting our things using the Turkish airline. So those are some of the support we are getting from the government, and it's been amazing and it's been very helpful to us.
TEKS Global is an investment scheme, which is typically Cameroonian. What are you doing for Cameroonians to actually identify and project and celebrate this investment scheme so that it survives, knowing that it is a Cameroonian legacy?
Okay, Mr. Leo, the first thing we're doing is empowerment. That is how we are getting these people to get on board. We're empowering them, because no matter what we do, if we don't empower them, even the money that we are making them to have, we get missing, we get wind up along the line. So TEKS Global is into a massive empowerment program that I think as at now, a lot of persons can attest to that. Take for instance the programs we organize here. We come here to do on Fridays. I personally have a lot of testimonies from people who have learned a lot. They belong to different companies. What we are doing is actually very massive. I know that because there are people who belong to different companies who are not having these opportunities we are giving them here on this platform, on Prime Hour. They are not getting this from their companies. But even despite the fact that they are not even investors, some of them are not investors in TEKS Global, but when we are talking on Prime Hour, they are benefiting from this. Our programs that we do organize, we give them access to come. Now, I'll give a practical example. When we organized the summit was a paid program. But my other colleague and I went on air and we were talking about the summit. And on talking about the summit, just there we decided and said, oh, okay, so some people have been hearing about TEKS Global or so, and you feel it's prompt, you cannot make it for the program tomorrow because you don't have ticket. And then we decided, okay, we're going to give out 20 tickets for free. So we're buying 20 tickets for people who are listening to TEKS Global online. Before we could even finish the statement, we already had people who sending their numbers. We said, I really want to be at the seminar and all of that. Because we know that when you're coming there, it's not just about the money. It's about the empowerment that you're going to get. And so getting the people to actually buy this scheme is first of all transforming their mind. And that's what TEKS Global is doing. We're empowering them. Also passing through Shep Academy. I'll tell you that the programs we've had this year has actually impacted so many people. We had the Audacity of Success that was organized here in Douala that was massively attended. People came from all over to attend that program. We also had the Billionaire Mindset Conference and all of that. So empowerment is the key thing that we're doing in TEKS Global. We are preaching, we're using this means to preach it, because if people don't understand their placement in investment, they will not even buy what we are doing in the first place. So we are creating that platform where they can be able to learn. And Mr. Teke has mentioned already that the new system we'll be having, we're going to get so much into more of empowerment activities so that people can be able to learn online. And also 2022 being the year where we're going to be doing a lot of trainings and all of that, already tells people that this is the focus. We don't just want to give you the money, we want to transform your mindset. So empowerment and actually giving the people a sense of belonging into what we do has been what has we have been able to use to get the people's mind into the scheme that we are doing. We preach it to them. When we come here sometimes to talk on different personal development and business topics, I think we don't even talk about TEKS Global so much right to the end. Just few times we come up with TEKS Global. And so the people get interested in TEKS Global most of the times, not because we mention TEKS Global, but because they have received the information that they know that they will not just receive those informations for free. But now we're giving it out to them for free. The empowerment, we're giving it out to them for free. And now when their minds are being transformed, they are ready to consume our products. And so that is exactly what we are doing, that we know that a lot of companies are not doing around, because we are not just... financial freedom is not just about the money. You get financially free right from your mindset. Your mind has to be financially free first. It has to accept financial freedom. And that's exactly what we are doing. And we're bringing the people into the scheme. And we thank God that they are accepting the transformation and that they are buying what we are telling them. And they are getting into the activity with us.
Mr. Teke, this year, lots and lots of vibes about the billionaire's mindset. Is there a book in the making? Are there some projects of a similar magnitude in the making?
Yes, Mr. Leo actually started off a project, but then it's not going to come very soon because we've not met up the target for the billionaire mindset. The billionaire mindset has a targeted copy that should be sold. Like I said sometimes back, that I want to be able to create a difference in book writing or in authoring a book in Cameroon. I don't want to be among those that they've authored 50 books, 50 different kind of books and the types of books, and they've sold just 200 copies in the 50 different types of books they've authored. So the billionaire mindset has a targeted number of copies that should be sold. And we are working towards that. That's why every time we are re-strategizing on how to ensure that we meet up to that. But there is a book I'm writing. It's called Bounce Back. And I think it's going to be mind-blowing when it finally comes out. Yeah. The project is massive. It's going to be big. It's actually Bounce Back. The whole idea for Bounce Back is to be able to teach the African man what could be done to bounce back from all the disappointment, the failure, the slavery, everything, helping them to throw away the blame game mentality, bouncing back to reality and knowing that something can be done. The idea is most of us take our time to complain about where we are coming from, what has happened to us, and that has blocked our mind from thinking of how we can actually make it work. Bounce Back is a project that will help everybody as long as you have the ability to read, to know how to come out of your mess into your glory, that's what Bounce Back is going to be. It's a massive project. It's going to be more voluminous than the billionaire mindset, but it's very rich.
Mr. Buji, TEKS Global is a brainchild of Mr. Teke, but today it belongs to the staff of TEKS Global. It belongs to Cameroonians. It belongs to the people of the world. And how do we make people really understand that TEKS Global's success actually does not depend on you? It depends on any person who makes up their mind to put in 100,000 francs, to put in 500,000 francs, 1 million francs. They have to make it work. It's like you constructing a house, a hotel. You must make it to work to make you a profit.
Yes, Mr. Leo, as a matter of fact, I'll make a comment from one part that when he took the microphone to make a comment, he said he wanted to talk. So he said, Mr. Teke is a very young man. This idea could have made him a very rich man, young man, only alone. But he decided that he's not going to be selfish. He's going to share this with Cameroonians. And thousands of people have been benefiting from this idea. So he pleaded that we should take it as our own and protect it at all times. So it comes back to your question, which if you're an investor of TEKS Global, that's why TEKS Global we don't classify our investors. You go to the investor summit, there was no cheer for those who invested millions and those who invested only 100,000. Everybody came there at a level ground. In fact, there was no high table during the investor summit. That was made for, it was for a purpose, that everybody in TEKS Global is equal. Your 100,000 to us is valued at the same rate with somebody's 100 million. So it is the responsibility of the investors to protect this vision at all times. If you hear somebody talking bad about TEKS Global somewhere, you need to hold the person's ear and tell them, hey, think again. I always tell people in most of our investors that were in forums with them, sometimes when they start, like, you know, there's this part of the human being that is so negative that at times they only see negative instead of positive. I always use this word that your tongue has the power of life and death in it. So you can decide when you open your mouth to speak, be careful. Use your mouth to praise, use your mouth to elevate, use your mouth to bless, not to curse. So when we talk about the times like investors supporting this vision, it's not just about me. Maybe you have to go to the farm, you work on the farm with us. No, your words, your encouragement. When you see Mr. Teke, you realize that, hey, this young man actually needs encouragement. He needs a thank you from Cameroonians. He needs a thank you from Africans and the people of the world, because the problems that TEKS Global is solving are not Cameroonian problems. They are not problems of even Africa. They are global problems. People in the US today can consume African food in the United States because of TEKS Global. And TEKS Global 2022 is just a year that we need to wait, watch and see. Sometimes our mouths may not be able to actually explain what's coming up in 2022, but it's going to be massive.
Okay, please, many persons are asking some questions that actually I think you should call the numbers on your screen, and I'm sure you're going to have the answers you want. Mr. Teke, 2022, where are we opening new offices for TEKS Global?
Well, we are looking at, for now, Limbe and Bafoussam, that's in the west. And then outside of Cameroon, we are looking at Canada and the UK. So that's what we're looking at. That's a project so far.
Okay. And to the many investors who are watching us now, some are asking about the registration. Do you refund registration? Okay. No refund. But one last word, Mr. Teke, for the many investors that are watching us and persons who may want to register, because you say registrations opener for the month of December.
Okay, thank you. First, Mr. Leo, I want to sincerely apologize for every inconvenience that most of our investors have faced. I want to really sincerely apologize. this break, what we are right now, was never anticipated. So I want to officially really apologize for every inconvenience that some of our investors must have gone through. I say, on behalf of TEKS Global team, we are deeply sorry, and we'll try our best to see that such things don't come again. We are so sorry, and we promise we're going to make this up to you by the time we come up in March. And also, this should not be a discouraging factor for you. Instead, it should be a proof for you to see that TEKS Global is a physical business that is running and is open to challenges. It's open to challenges, and when these challenges come, we are calling on you. Please, let's put our hands together and see how we can fix it. We should not be able to run away when challenges come. We have to stand, and then we fix it. I am for TEKS Global, and I am for TEKS Global investors. We can make this happen, and we can make it happen. I want to say a big thank you for everyone that has believed in this vision and is supporting and is picking up the positive vibes and is defending the company. Thank you so very much. I may not know you, but there is a reward you are getting for supporting a vision. Thank you so very much. Thank you, televiewers. Thank you, My Media Prime, for the amazing thing you're doing, your support to always bring us on air on Friday to talk about this vision. We can't pay you enough. Thank you so much, Mr. Leo, management of My Media Prime. I'm so grateful. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you so much.
Okay, we are also very grateful for you, especially for empowering people on how to make money out of the little resources they have. Thank you for coming, Mr. Buji.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Thank you, televiewers. TEKS Global is 5 years today, and we are welcoming everybody on board. We have to make it. I am envisaging the 6th anniversary of TEKS Global. We are thinking about where we are going to celebrate it. I was just talking about that with Miss Elle in the car, that the 6th anniversary of TEKS Global is going to be something wonderful. We're celebrating at a different level. And My Media Prime will definitely, will broadcast from our summit next year.
Okay, we are going to do that live. I pray so.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Miss Elle.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leo. Thank you, everybody. And I'd like to close by saying this. This is the time, this is the wind that is blowing for the change to occur in TEKS Global. And when the wind is blowing, any plant that is not well rooted in the ground can easily fall. And mind you, you will stand in to be careful so that when a plant is about to fall, it does not fall on you. Because if it falls on you, you go down with the plant. So this is the time. You're not looking at anybody. Your investment in TEKS Global is particular, is personal. And we are in this together. TEKS Global is the community we are building. And together we're going to build this community and we'll make the difference we have to make in Africa. Okay. Have a blessed weekend.
Yes, we say thank you to you, Eli, and to you, Desmond, and the broadcasters. We say thank you to you, Tabitha Tambe Bryant, who is supervising the job we do out here. We also say a great weekend to you all. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.